Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to discuss time with a new piece of information that we are going to add to counting by fives and using the clock to tell to the nearest 5-minute interval because we have to put one more piece of information with that time. If you can tell, I have my clock set today for 10:10. Is there only one 10:10 during the day, or are there two? There are two 10:10s. At 10:10 in the morning, hopefully you are up working on your lessons for school, and you might even be watching this video at 10:10 in the morning, 10:10 a.m. Hopefully at 10:10 p.m., you're settled in for the night, you've had your shower, you've had your bedtime story, and you are starting to catch some good sleep. So we are going to discuss the 10:10 a.m. and the 10:10 p.m. and the fact that every time during the day, that time occurs twice. That time occurs in the part of the day before noon, as well as the part of the day post noon or p.m. So I have made a foldable to show the 24 hours that our day is filled with. And if you notice, I've used black for the time period from midnight until about 6 or 7 a.m. And then I've used black again for the 6 or 7 p.m. until the trip goes back around to midnight as well. This part of our day is the middle of the day, and I've divided it in half as well because this time in the immediate middle of our day is called noon or 12 noon, and it is the opposite of 12 midnight, where those happens in the middle of the night, where that clock turns into a new day. So we're going to look at this to discuss and think about the fact that this half of the day until noon or until 12 in the middle of the day is called AM. So if we were talking about 10:10 AM, it's this period of the day where the sun's out, sun's shining, you're up doing things, and it's a normal part of our middle of the day 10:10. If I am talking about the other 10:10 of PM, the sun has gone in and you're settled in and ready for bed, or in bed hopefully if it's a regular school day, so that you can be bright and ready to start the next day. So from this midnight until 12 noon, there's a 1 o'clock a.m., a 4 o'clock a.m., a 5:15 a.m. Usually right here around 6:30 the sun is starting to rise. That is 6:30 a.m. Here is our part of our morning a.m. that we're up at 8 o'clock eating breakfast, or 9:30 helping our mom with some chores around the house now that we're home at 9:30 a.m. This half of the day, right when that turns from a.m. to p.m., is 12 noon. At school, usually at 12 noon, we were in the cafeteria all together. I miss seeing you there at 12 noon, don't you? Then we would come back to the classroom in the afternoon, about 12:15, and we would get started with our afternoon. About 2:15 we would go home, and here's where the sun has gone back to sleep, usually about 7:30 or so. It's getting later now, so the sun is up longer, but this might be the 10:10 that we were talking about earlier, or the 11:15, or the 11:30. So this clock, or this linear representation, is showing you the 24 hours of a day. And half of that day is daylight, partly AM and partly PM. And half of that day, the sun is not facing our earth, and we are turned away from the sun. And that's the PM, this part of the AM, from 12 midnight to about 7 a.m. and this part of the PM of 7 p.m. till midnight or 8 p.m. The sun's going to bed a little bit later now. So we're going to use that time to look at a few things you do during the day and try to decide, would we put those as an AM label on our time or a PM label? Is it before noon or afternoon? And then we're going to talk about some more times that is before noon that you're not up yet, or afternoon and you're already asleep. So here's the first one. If you are eating supper at 5:45, is that 5:45 a.m. or 5:45 p.m.? You're right. I'm going to put that on afternoon p.m. because we eat supper at 5:45 at night. 5:45 a.m., the sun might not be up yet. Most of us don't usually see 5:45 a.m. now that we are learning from home. Nobody's up getting ready for the bus. No one is up getting ready for the day. We get to sleep a little bit later. Now, I have another event that you might be doing during the day, and that is if we were at school. If we were at school, we go to recess at 10:15. Is that 10:15 a.m., forenoon, or 10:15 p.m., afternoon? We would put that in 10:15 a.m. because that is before our lunch. 10:15 p.m., we are not out having recess. We are home in the bed. Okay, let's look at the next time. Oh, here's one. I know a lot of you have been doing this because you've been sharing these pets with us on our Zoom time. I have a tag that says at 3:30 you're taking your dog for a walk. Would that be 3:30 a.m.? You would still be asleep. It is definitely 3:30 p.m. of taking your dog for a walk. Some of you are probably taking your dog for a walk in the morning, but it would be closer to like maybe letting the dog out about 7:15 or 8:15. But 3:30 a.m. you would be good, sweet dreams. 3:30 p.m. would be the time of the day that the sun was out and you could take a walk. Okay, next one I have is something you're doing at home, probably. At 11:45, helping get lunch ready. I hope you're helping your family get lunch ready because they're doing a lot of jobs and you are too. 11:45, getting your lunch ready. This one's kind of tricky because it's only 15 minutes till this middle part of the day. It's almost noon, but at 11:45 a.m. you would be starting to get ready. A lot of you, or at school even, we eat lunch right in the smack middle of the day. So that 11:45 is right before noontime, right before the middle. At 11:45 p.m. you would be asleep. Okay, next one I have is, and I used a lot of meal times because those are pretty basic for most of us. 8 o'clock, eating breakfast. Would that go over here? Heavens no. We would be eating breakfast over here in the morning at 8 o'clock a.m. 8 o'clock p.m. is in the evening, and you're probably settling down, maybe putting together a puzzle or doing a game with your family or enjoying a favorite TV show before bedtime. Okay, here is our last one. The last one we have to put on our chart says 9:15. 9:15, shower and reading a bedtime story. AM? PM. You're right, PM. That is 9:15 p.m. So if the clock showed 9:15, and your mom said, it's time to get your shower and get ready for bed and read your bedtime story, that would be 9:15 p.m. Okay? Now, I want to show you one more time the visual that I made to help us think about the 24 hours in a day. That means it takes 2 trips around the clock. This is the AM time, and it starts at 12 midnight, which is 12 a.m. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe about 7 a.m. right here. This part of our day is dark. The sun is not shining. This amount of time in the morning when you wake up from 7 to lunchtime, 12, that part of our day is AM as well. So the first part of the day is AM. The second part of the day is post-noon, or post 12 p.m. And that would be like in the afternoon when we're dismissing from school, when you're getting to go home and ride your bike. Usually if you're at school, you have homework in the afternoon and you would be doing homework there, but a lot of you are getting that done before afternoon since we're doing classwork and all during the day. But this is the afternoon part of the day. The sun goes down, starting to settle in for the night. And this part is like 11, 12 before we hit midnight again. And it's dark again. 9:35, this 9:15, it's dark outside. You're coming in because it's dark. So our day is divided into AM and PM. And when you read that clock, you have to put that label of AM and PM on there to show that this is 10:15 in the morning, AM. And when you write that clock time of 5:45 to eat dinner, you're writing 5:45 p.m. to say that you're at the afternoon time, afternoon, p.m. So we would write every time we write with an AM or a PM, and you would label that abbreviation to show which of those times during the day that is happening. Because 9:15 a.m. is very different than 9:15 p.m. It's 2 different times. So remember those abbreviations. AM, the first part of the day. We can't always say the morning part of the day because our morning starts at 7 a.m. But we're asleep for part of those AM hours. And we can't say after only in the afternoon time because some of this afternoon time the sun is asleep and we're in bed. So at 11:15, it's not really afternoon, but it is 11:15 p.m. to say it is past noon, but before past noon, but before midnight. So I hope this helps you with AM and PM. We've also attached another video that does a great job of turning it into some songs and fun ways of learning it. And I hope you have a great day.